Kung Fu for boxing? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Me, you know, I'm a certified Kung Fu master. It's been proven, documented. But I've got Rob from McDojo Life, and I actually have a real Kung Fu master. You're a Kung Fu master, right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Isn't it Kung Fu you do?
Yeah, Jeet Kune Do.
It's all the same shit, right?
It's Kung Fu.
Potatoes,
Yeah, okay.
potatoes.
Just kidding, I'm not a Kung Fu master. I know that that was very convincing, but it's not true. But there are some stuff that I ripped off from Kung Fu, but these guys have some other ideas on it. So I just want to share a couple of the things that maybe you can help me out, because you know all the different names of the Bong Saus and the Tong Saus. And I don't know the names of all this stuff, but I think it would be cool to know the names, because then I could say it and sound very erudite and sort of like, you know, just feel like I'm better than other people because I know these cool terms for it. I know, like, Bong Sau, help me out. Bong Sau is kind of like this idea. Like, well, so I'll tell you when I use it. Like, you know, when you, like, parry and come over the top, like, with the same hand, right? Boom. We teach that a lot. Like, that throws a jab, right? Now I go boom, boom, right? That's a great technique. So when someone does it to me, the only thing I have is that arm going, boom, is that right there. Is that Bong Sau?
Yeah, yes and no. Like,
give it to me, Ed. You don't have to be nice.
The idea with the Bong Sau is, I've heard a lot of different ways. Exactly, if you ping it here, I want to rotate the elbow up and keep my hand in.
Oh, you have made it a strike.
Yeah, because, like, well, not necessarily a strike, but a deflection inward. So, like, if you punch and I go here, this is more like a shoulder roll, elbow deflection type thing. But if you throw it here and I go in, see how I'm still in?
Yeah.
This is where all the trapping that doesn't work works. Get in and do stuff. So the idea is if I jab and you go, so if I'm here and then I get that in, the pressure is in, like you're screwing in a light bulb. Boom, is the idea.
So it's not necessarily so much this way,
right? As like
I guess probably similar to the mechanics of punching. Like we're trying to get people to stick that punch in instead of swing them like that.
Exactly.
So I was doing Bong Sau, I was just doing it shitty.
Yes, it's Bong Sau-ish.
Yeah.
Yes. So like if I throw my cross and you think about turning the key inward,
right,
you'll have boom, that kind of pressure in.
Yeah.
And now you could just follow with whatever. Boom.
Especially
like
if he's lazy.
Yeah.
You know, if it just shoots all the way through and then it either drops or it goes across and you kept a tight Bong Sau, then you can throw it over the top.
Rob's like, you keep that Bong tight, man. What's some other Saus? What's the other Saus? You guys, they were talking all kinds of this Sau and that Sau.
Pretty sure Sau just means hand. And then everything based off of that is just different words for turning, pulling, slapping.
Smack it up, flip it, rub it down.
So I like, correct me if I'm wrong in the terminology, by the way, and I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, we get super like scared when we're trying to use other languages and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, gotta get that stuff right.
Normally what I would say in my videos is I don't care, which I don't. But since someone's here, I'll be respectful. So what I like is, it's called a Hyun Sau. Did I say it right?
I'm not Cantonese, so I don't know.
Bam, nailed it. So again, like I talked in another video about open and close stance, so what I like to do is if he's got a left lead, I'll take a left lead, right? And then off the jab, what I'll do is I'll kind of take a little boxer's pat, but rather than taking a boxer's pat, I'll actually scoop it, right? And so if you do like a regular Hyun Sau, it's this movement, right? So it's just rotating. And so what I'll do is I'll push it off to the side, which gives me an angle here, and it naturally puts my arm in a Bong Sau type position.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like.
And so what's gonna happen as soon as I do that? He's going to throw the other shot. That's just a fact. He's gonna throw the other one down the middle. So you boom, boom. And now if you look, it gives me an angle to the body shot that I really wanted. And so we're here, it's boom, boom. So I'm already set up to throw this to the body. That was my entire intent, was to throw my, basically like an overhand right to the body, but I'm setting it up off of that type of a movement with my wrist. One more time, rotate it. I already knew the cross was gonna come, so I already have my hand set up. And very similar to like a Wing Chun Kung Fu, I'm not padding, I'm holding the line. I'm just keeping my hand there. My hand's already here, and so as soon as that leaves connection with my hand, I throw it to the body. All right, so one more time, boom, boom, boom. So it happens 1, 2, 3. One more time, 1, 2, 3. All right, it's a really easy shot, and it works, again, like probably like 75% of the time, because you're kind of baiting them into it. You know, I'm like, oh, I want him to cross me. Boom, and I'm already set up prepared for it.
That's awesome. Because like I a lot of times I'll use the Hyun Sau, but I won't go in, I'll just touch.
Yeah, which is similar to like if you jab, just doing that, just but adding a little extra.
Yeah, to open it up. Yeah. To make him fire.
Maybe if he's not firing the cross a lot. Like he's just sort of sticking out jabs by themselves.
And you can kind of bait it because you're like, please punch me in the foot, but you're already prepared. Your hand's already on the shelf, ready to go. And basically cover the exact same thing we covered on that other video.
Yeah.
Which is
Now, help me out, Ed. You do Jeet Kune Do.
Yes.
That's the Bruce Lee one, right?
Correct.
He's the 1-inch punch guy, right?
He supposedly is the 1-inch punch guy, yeah.
All right, so I've been explained to by a Kung Fu Wing Chun guy that the 1-inch punch is not an actual attack, like by itself. Like you're not really gonna be like, hey, we're gonna fight. Yeah. But more like a principle on delivering some power, as much power as you can in a short amount of space without telegraphing.
Correct, yeah.
So is that fair?
Yeah, I would say it is. Like the idea, let's use something like the Bong Sau there. If it fails off of this cross and you end up in this close thing, you want to generate the power with the hit. Yeah, with the...
Come on.
So when you're here, like the idea is I can to get that little movement to throw a kick or anything like that.
And not, so where people get confused and they think, no, it's not as much power as boom, but it's some power where you would have had none. This is the one I've used, maybe you guys will like this one. So I do like this kind of like uppercut where we kind of blind them a little bit. I step off here, and then when I throw this uppercut, a lot of times what happens is they'll cinch down and I get stuck in here, right? And what a lot of people want to do when they get stuck, and especially new guys, they'll like squeeze and like hold onto your gloves and you get into this thing right here. So what I've been doing, Mom, move your head out of the way a little bit. No, but keep your gloves right there. Okay. So what I've been doing is I've just been rewinding my uppercut a little bit and then just reapplying it like that, like as a 1-inch punch. Because a lot of times the guy's hunkered down, so I'll do it super slow. If you're hunkered down, I sort of do this and I'm like, boom, and it's not boosh.
No.
You know, doing this to you, but it's definitely hitting you when you weren't expecting to be hit. Is that the principle of 1-inch punch? Would you say?
I would agree it is because
so just applying the same mechanics of striking in a short amount of space.
You know, the people look at the 1-inch punch from C.J. Bruce and they see like his demo where he's here,
right?
But they forget that key word. Demo.
Trying to advertise what we're doing for people that don't know anything yet.
He's at the karate championships to show off how cool he is.
I'm just going to interject a little bit because I am who I am. I do what I do. But,
I was going to say, Ed, strap in.
This is why I think a lot of things get bad names is because of poor demonstrations of technique. So like him doing it like this and everybody's like, that's ridiculous. Like, why would you do that? That's his fault. Like, no offense to the guy, but like if you're gonna show it like how you have showed the application and like this is how I would actually use it. I mean, is it as cool? I don't know, maybe not, depends on who you ask. But is it effective? Yes. So you can show like, ha, and then the guy flies back, but then you can go back and say, hey, this is how it actually applies.
So maybe a good midway ground is at least give it some lip service.
Yes.
This is a principle. It is a thing that you can become able to do, but to actually use it in a fight, you need more.
Or change it or modify it. This looks good.
But people don't like that. But people are lazy. But if you tell them, here's one weird trick, you know what I mean? It's just the same with videos. If you say one weird trick to win every I
have a weird trick.
Speaking of,
I think I do the 1-inch punch of kicks.
What?
Yes, the 1-inch kick. 100% I do it regularly. And as you guys were talking about it, I started thinking about it. But like, there's so many times where I'm kicking stuff and it gets caught, and this is usually like a, oh no, bad position.
Yeah.
But being able to do the same thing where like I just redo that movement in a smaller space and just like kick just enough to get somebody.
That is the same principle.
It's the same thing. I'm just kicking.
And it works. It works.
And it works 100%.
So Sensei Seth came in to do a 1-inch punch with his foot.
With my foot, yeah.
But it's the same thing. And this happens too. If I throw a good cross and they jam down like this and it gets stuck, you might want to just pull out and reset. But I never pull out. I'm going to stick that thing in there as hard as I can, as fast as I can. And no, I'm not doing a ton of damage, you know?
But like, never pull out.
And here's what I know is going to happen. A lot of folks would look at anything that we're talking about and say, that's just boxing. That's not Kung Fu, that's just boxing. It totally is just boxing. But it also is Kung Fu. And what I think, you can definitely help me here. I'm gonna stop doing this shtick for a second. And I sincerely mean this. What I think where it gets lost is a lot of guys that practice more traditional martial arts without a combat sport element learn the move and maybe even the principle, but it's the what do I do after. right?
100%.
Like you were talking about the
Tak Sau. Tak, it's lifting hand.
right. Yeah, and you'll see the guy on the wooden dummy, and they'll go.
Yes. So
And
like,
yeah.
whoop.
And it looks cool.
And it's at the end of a lot of forms. You'll go boom, boom, boom.
So show them what that means. So you do.
So I think of it off of like using it to close that distance. If I'm here and I see that their elbows are there, I'll go here and then lift. Now the idea here, this is a nice thing.
And then I go into the ceiling.
Yes, I go whoop, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
no. So I'll lift here, whoop, and now I can get under here and do whatever it is I'm wanting to do.
Oh, that never happens in fights.
No.
That's not a thing.
No. And then they also talk about like I call this Pak Sau, Jiao Sau, Jut Sau, Tak Sau. So there's a lot of Saus.
type.
Yeah, thank you. But the idea is like you look at this, it's trained all flowery. But the idea from it is if I'm here and I get in here, now I can start to use this to pull, and then the lift is also on the face.
Yeah.
Which is
Or go straight for the double.
yes,
Right?
exactly.
So where I think I'm landing on this is that a lot of the traditional martial artists, the thing they're missing is usually the after
Correct.
and the application. And what I think, and I'll throw you a bone, what a lot of the combat sport guys is missing some of the minutia and the details and the understanding of like these little specific moments, because there's a point of diminishing returns. It's like I get super good at parrying punches, and at the time I took to do that, I didn't get good at punching. I'm just gonna get my ass kicked a little slower.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
100%.
if I get really good at parrying punches, but I also can just regular box pretty good.
Well, another one, just since we're going down the line of Kung Fu, I just thought about this, is Chi Sao. And Chi Sao is pretty much just a drill. You're just feeling what the other person is going to do, right? But you do that all the time, like especially like if you look at MMA, like we're set up and the guys are sizing each other up, and he might put his hand on the glove.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling. So like if you go to loop,
Yeah,
or I
it's
just go straight in.
sensitivity. I'm familiar with sensitivity and feeling, and but you know what? A perfect example, which is exactly kind of what I was just saying. Hand fighting. Like if I say, hey, we're just gonna do some hand fighting, we're just sort of like drilling hand fighting and doing that. That only represents like a little portion of what the fight is gonna be.
Right.
But if you can get really good at that, you can set up what the bulk of the fight is gonna be, which is bigger, gross motor clinching and wrestling and punching. But if you're good at hand fighting, you get to pick the position.
Well, body mechanics is body mechanics. It's universal. It's
Yeah.
just what the intent is behind those movements is what's really important and how it's
Intent.
taught. Intent is huge.
Intent.
So like for instance, the motion of my arm going out could be a billion different things.
Yeah.
Right?
Poke,
I
a
could
push,
be
a
reaching
punch,
to grab.
a grab,
I could be
yeah.
grabbing the hair. I could be eye gouging. This is just the tool that implements the intent. But the motion is still the same for body mechanics. It doesn't change.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a kung fu master.